Welcome and thank you for joining the channel. Please help this channel by liking and subscribing. We really appreciate it. There are no ads on this video. If you have a scary story you would like me to share on this channel, comment below and your story will be featured in a video. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy these creepy encounters with the paranormal, accompanied by rain and thunder. Did you do something different to the stew this time? My husband Earl asked. Why? I replied. Does it taste bad? Earl dipped his spoon into the stew, filled it, and then took a bite, letting the meat and vegetables linger in his mouth so he could get a better taste at the flavor before swallowing it. No, it doesn't taste bad, he finally said. It just tastes different, but in a good way. I like it, he admitted. Well, I decided to tell him the truth. I did add a secret ingredient this time. Whatever it was, I think you should keep adding it. Earl took another bite of the stew. I'm afraid that won't be possible, I revealed. Why not? Because I've already used all that I had. Can't you buy more? He asked, shoveling more stew into his mouth. Not of this. How come? Did the store sell out of it? He tried to guess the reason why. This isn't something you buy from the store, I explained. What is it? I smiled. It's jasmine. When Earl heard my reply, he spat out the chunk of meat he had been chewing and started gagging. Jasmine was the name of his mistress. Still groggy from the drugs, I stared at the woman in the neon pink blazer. Take a moment to make your choice, she said, grinning wide. I looked down at the briefcase on the table separating us. Inside there were 4 items: a syringe, a pistol, a butcher's knife, and a power drill. I waited for her to explain where I was, what was going on, and why my arms and legs were zip-tied to my chair. 1 minute left on the clock, she said. I stared at her in disbelief. Shut up. Her smile never wavered. I tried again. Sorry, I said shut the fuck up. Or else you'll get all of them, she said, gesturing to the briefcase full of weapons. I realized then she wasn't looking at me. I looked over my shoulder. At least 100 people were sitting in neat rows behind me, each holding a tablet. All of them wore masks. And that's time. The hostess said, Audience, let's see what you choose. The lights in the room got brighter. I was looking up at a massive screen. Each of the 4 weapons appeared in a column. Next to each one was a percentage. I think the choice is clear, she said, jumping out of her seat, with a staggering 62%. She reached into the briefcase. The drill it is, she said, still smiling as she turned it on, and the audience began to cheer. I've been door dashing ever since my ex-boyfriend got me fired from my regular job. I don't want to go too into detail, but he didn't take our breakup very well. My latest order was from Taco Bell, 2 Crunchwrap Supremes without the quesadilla or the tostada, an extra Dilapo sauce when I picked it up. I texted the customer like I always do. Hey, just picked up your order, I'm on my way. Their response was kind of strange. I need you to deliver it to me in my room. It's hard enough trying to make a living off crappy tips, but it's way worse when people get weird. I'm sorry, I can drop it off inside your door, but I don't feel comfortable doing anything beyond that. Hold on. I am 83 and bedridden. If you don't bring it to me, then I won't be able to get it. Please, I'll double your tip. Guess I don't have a choice. I pulled into their driveway, Taco Bell in hand, then went into their house. Definitely an old person's house. Tacky, floral wallpaper, and dozens of photos framed and hung on the walls. I tried to call my customer, but they didn't pick up. Instead, they texted. Upstairs. I sighed and wandered around until I found the stairs. There was only one room on the second floor, and after knocking, a raspy voice whispered, "Come in." Inside was a very old woman. Her skin was so wrinkly and loose that it looked like it was falling off her bones. She was wrapped up under the covers in her pajamas and a nightcap. I gently shook the bag, and the old lady reached out from the covers, beckoning for it. I gave it to her, and she pulled it right out and started to eat. I stood there for a few moments before going, Right, the old lady whispered. Your tip is in the drawer right there. She pointed towards her nightstand. I opened the nightstand dresser, hoping to get out as quickly as possible, but there wasn't any money inside. Just a photo of me and my ex-boyfriend. What the fuck is this? You were so cute. Why did you break up? Are you fucking serious? You never gave him a reason. It's none of your fucking business, I shrieked. The granny shot up in bed, shouting, "Tell me." I found videos on his laptop. He was drowning animals. She started cackling. He's going to do so much worse to you than that. Her voice was different now, younger, deeper. Where's the old lady? I asked. What the hell did you do? She's gone now. Just like you will be soon, now that I've trapped you. I wouldn't count on it, I said. Why not? She started coughing uncontrollably until she started spitting out blood. Did you really think I would forget your Taco Bell order? You fuckboy. You should have ordered something different if you wanted to trick me. Hannah loved the lemon frosting cupcakes. Clutching a box to my chest, I danced down the street. As Hannah Martin's best friend, my job was to make her tea party extra special. I was lucky. I swiped my nose, ignoring the red patch on my sleeve. I was so lucky to be by her side. My grin broadened as I stepped onto the road. I barely felt the car slam into me. I wasn't sure I was dead. I didn't feel dead, but the birds did not stop singing. Lying face down in lemon frosting, something warm seeped around me. Sticking on the back of my head, through half-lidded eyes, I glimpsed a rugged metal chip sitting in the lemon dessert. Call an ambulance. The voices, both inside and outside of my head. Elizabeth, do you know why the three of you are here today? Nope. My voice was grumble. Because we didn't do anything. You can't punish us. Sebastian giggled. That's right. Wendy joined in. My dad is the supervisor. Presently, a figure danced above me with no face. I blinked. The shadow was a paramedic. Miss, can you tell me your name? I was hit with a memory, pain striking my skull. Throwing open a classroom door, I grabbed Hannah Martin's ponytail. You little bitch, I spat. Sebastian dumped water over Hannah's head, laughing. Wendy threw trash all over her. Tell the teacher again and you'll regret it. The sound of drilling took me off guard. My own screams, entangled with Wendy and Seth. I blinked again, my vision focusing on the present, on the paramedic's face. Lizzie? I whispered. He nodded. Age? 13, I mumbled. Can you call my mom? The paramedic cocked his head. Ma'am, it seems you've gotten a concussion. I leapt up, my head spinning. In every car window, I saw an old woman, at least 30, with red streaks running down her face. Smooth brown hair and porcelain skin. But that wasn't me. The old woman wasn't me, because I was a kid. I just turned 13 last month. I ran home, but a stranger opened the door. Mom? Where's my mom? When I broke down on the sidewalk, high heels stopped in front of me. Hannah Martin, all grown up. Beside her was Wendy and Seth, their eyes empty. Adults. Seb wore a wedding ring, and he was a little too close to Hannah. His skin was too perfect. Where were his freckles? I jumped up, prodding the man in the cheek, only for his skin to crack apart, skin peeling from the bone. Wendy was so unnaturally beautiful. Hannah leaned in, her breath tickling my ear. It looks like one of my dolls is broken, Lizzie. She chuckled. And I can't have that. I've already fixed my husband doll 3 times now. She pulled me to my feet and I stumbled, struggling to walk in heels. Come on, wife doll, Hannah laughed, tugging me along. It's time for our tea party. My uncle used to tell me that my mother was the devil. Then he'd reassure me that he didn't think she was the devil. It was just his way of sympathizing with my predicament. Mother hated my uncle. Said he was a fucked up outcast of society. That he was a terrible influence. She banned me from seeing him, even got a restraining order. Every night she came home late, drunk. She'd stumble through the door, sometimes with a strange second voice that I didn't recognize. In our house, there was lots of shouting, slamming doors, screaming. I never knew what to suspect, except that something bad was going to happen. As I grew up, I began to actually suspect she was the devil. I started reading religious texts when I was about 11. I was doing research, trying to find answers to the bottomless well of anxiety I felt. I remember the night I performed an exorcism on her. She was sleeping, and I snuck into her bedroom in my pajamas, carrying a cup of holy water I had taken from the local church. Terrified of waking her up, I dabbled my fingers into the water and gently caressed her weathered forehead. I whispered a prayer, in which I poured all the love I had left to give. Please make her better, God. I love my mom. But I think it was too late, even for God, because things only got worse and worse. I was living inside fear every day, the worst kind of despair imaginable. I couldn't take it anymore. The constant abuse, the strangers, the hanging by a thin thread. I didn't want to harm myself anymore. If she was evil, if she was, in fact, Satan, I had to take it upon myself to kill her and end this region of darkness. I needed to do it in a way where she couldn't fight back, or I knew she'd kill me first. I borrowed a hammer from someone and waited until she was sleeping again. It was a very practical thing I was doing, but I had no idea what to expect. I was terrified. I crept into her room and strangled her sleeping body. Then I bent my arms and swung the hammer over my head. It was like cracking an egg. Afterwards, I found myself in court, charged with murder. The judge said I was a delusional maniac who needed to be locked away for the safety of society. Perhaps I was crazy. Even so, even if she wasn't really the devil, what difference would it have made it to me? What difference would it have made if she killed me first? It was another night on patrol. Master's cornfield had flourished, and we had to stay nearby, chasing out thieves who would try to steal the crop. I'm Shadow, the Reckon, a cat with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. The dogs. Well, they're the muscle. We had our duties. I'd scout, they'd chase. We worked together, a tight team with a single goal: keep out intruders, protect the crops. Shredder protected the cattle. Tonight seemed like just another night and a quiet shift. Coulter, Tank, and Bolt, my 3 partners for crop duty, were snoozing as usual, sprawled around the cornfield's edge. Coulter was the leader, a muscled Rottweiler with a low growl that could make any stray scramble. Tank, a stocky bulldog, always followed close behind, and Bolt, a sleek border collie, was the speed. The dogs were alert, vigilant as ever, but the night, that's their weakness. That's where I come in. I'm the eyes, the ears, and the brains behind the brawn. A sound drifted in the cornfield, a rustle, almost too quiet, but just enough to snap my into attention. Then I saw a silhouette move, now hidden by the tall corn. Damn, those thieves. Just as I was about to rest, I prodded Coulter awake. He grunted, blinking at me as I shot him a sharp look towards the field. Those thieves again. Without hesitation, Coulter charged forward, his barks cutting through the silence. Tank and Bolt followed close behind, while I stayed a few paces back, my senses on high alert. We'd done this routine plenty of times. I'd watch, track, and direct. They'd corner and chase. I watched as Coulter barged into the dense cornfield, where I caught another movement. Bolt and Tank were on standby. It was usually predictable. Coulter driving them out, Tank stepping in if they fought back, Bolt give chase till they were gone. But that's not what happened tonight. Coulter's barks halted. There was a yelp, sharp and painful, followed by silence. From the corn, Coulter's body was flung. His head lay twisted as an unnatural angle, limbs bent, lifeless eyes staring into nothing. Coulter. Bolt's voice was shaky, but he barreled forward into the cornfield alongside Tank, barking furiously. Another scream, a desperate howl from Bolt, echoed, and I saw him stagger back, dragging his leg before being yanked down by something unseen. Tank's barks were cut short, leaving only the rustling of the corn. Their remains flew out from the corn, landing havenously on the dirt. I turned around to run when I see Shredder, the cattle guard, approaching. Stay back, we can't fight it. He dashed in anyway. You could go after the master, he said. Another yelp. Silence. Shredder's body was thrown back like a discarded toy. Master arrived, his face contorting in horror at the bodies of his loyal dogs. A grotesque, pulsing tentacle slid out from the corn behind him. I blinked. Master was gone. A scream tore through the night, raw and agonizing, followed by the same sickening silence. So, you didn't know how it started. That's right. I was just minding my business when I saw him strike. Craziest thing I've seen in weeks. Wow, that's insane. Did anything else happen? He punched her in the face a couple more times and called her a few choice words. She sort of seemed used to it. I turned my head to look away, but I just heard her laughing as if she heard a funny story. You think he would have some decorum? I don't know why he wouldn't try to hide it. That's the weirdest thing. It seemed like they had no shame, but they tried to convince me that what I saw and heard didn't happen. That they were just playing around. They can never clearly state what's going on. That sounds confusing. Yeah, it's one of the reasons hanging out with them can be so draining. How come I never see this? Oh, you will. You and I will have less and less direct contact as the years go by. I'm just here for now so you don't get too overwhelmed. What's your name? I'm you. The you that's not you. The you that sees things that you try and ignore. I try to soften the blow by taking on that extra information. Oh, thank you. This sounds like it'd be a nightmare without you. I might use nightmares to speak with you sometimes, only when you refuse to listen. I'll do my best to keep an ear open. They all say that. I wish us luck with our parental situation. Today's my birthday. It's my favorite day of the year. When I was younger, my mother used to wake me up with breakfast in bed. All of my favorites, bacon, eggs, and French toast. All for me, all for my birthday. My mother was a wonderful cook. She had such a gift in the kitchen. I hoped I might find a woman like her one day. One gifted with the skill in the kitchen so that my birthday could continue to be the best day ever. Today's my birthday. And there's no breakfast in bed. A shame, really, but I expected it. When I was younger, my mother used to bake me a cake, a specific kind, a lush, delicious chocolate cake that melted in my mouth. The buttercream frosting whipped to perfection. I often dreamed that I would find a woman that would bake a cake as good as my mother. Today is my birthday, and I'm sitting at the dining room table. I can hear shuffling from the other room. Quiet sobs. I wish you wouldn't cry like that, but I dare not to speak that wish aloud. I also shouldn't waste it. After all, I only get one wish on my birthday, and it's been the same every year. Today's my birthday. And my mother shuffles herself from the kitchen finally. She slowed down in her old age, the flesh peeling from her body, bones starting to show as the decay eats away at her every year. Her face mummified to her skull, eyes sunken in so deep that may as well not be even there. Her frail, bony fingers are wrapped around the tray with the beautiful chocolate cake covered in the perfectly whipped buttercream frosting. There are now 48 candles in the cake. The sight of them covering most of it makes me chuckle. Could I really be so old? Today is my birthday, and as my mother sets down the cake, another clump of hair falls from her head along with a piece of rotting flesh. I used to be disgusted by the rotting smell that came from her body, but now I've gotten used to it. It's like a part of her, a part of my birthday. I wait patiently for her to start singing. The sadness in those half-gone eyes tell me she knows what I'm waiting for. Her voice is hardly a whisper as she begins to mumble out the words between broken and rotten teeth. Her tongue is shriveled, making some of the words even harder to say. Mouth so dry. I swear I hear the gums cracking. Today is my birthday. And as my mother finishes my birthday song, she looks at me with that pleading expression she had since she died. Or at least since she should have died. But I couldn't have that on my birthday, which is why I used my birthday wish to make sure my mother could be around forever. Today is my birthday, and I wish again for my mother to continue to live. After all, what woman can compare to my mother?